What's up, guys? This video is going to be focused on G2 versus BLG and what happened in bot lane. So in the first game, we have Senna Not versus Ashen. I mean, the main thing is that for the Senna Nautilus lane, they have to be very mindful to not overcommit, because if they do, the Ashe just runs you down and it's a terrible time. And of course, once Shen hits level 3 and he activates his W, you're not really getting any damage down when the Nautilus goes in, so it kind of just starts flatlining. So you need to get a lot done in the first 2 levels, and then you're pretty much just looking for inting moments. So, how did they do it? Well, in the beginning, you know, you're gonna notice neither of them are approaching each other, which is great. He's gonna taunt in, and so it's an instant cleanse. And so for Shen, and you're gonna see On do this quite a few times, especially in the Alistar game, he's gonna go in, create some, I guess you could say, interrupt the progression per se. And this is not going to really be the best trade for him, because even though he gets the cleanse, which is good for the first like 3-4 minutes, he does eat a ton of damage, and Nautilus didn't really take much for it as well. So for now, G2 are up HP. Okay. Then they both play for level 2. Neither do anything until Shen decides to walk in a little bit. Now, Senna has no W, and I assume that's why he's thinking, oh, I should go, right? But as he walks in, he needs to instantly Q, because if he Qs, he gets the shield, and it's not nearly as bad. He doesn't, so he actually eats the full damage, and Nautilus takes nothing. And then a little spacing happens. Misses the Senna Q, which, by the way, you know, if that hits, this is even worse for him. And they get the kill, which is great. Now, here's the problem that they have to face. Do they have the power to shove this in? Their Vi is pathing up, and I don't think they know where Xin is going at this point, right? No, they don't. So they don't have... Oops, too far. They don't have knowledge of where Xin is, and he was not able to get a ward down. So due to that, technically, the best thing they could have done after this play happens is the Nautilus just runs here, bases, and then, like, they probably does have enough time to actually to complete the base, right? But base, get your conditions back up, and don't let the wave be shit for you. They try to force it, which obviously is, like, pretty hard. And they're assuming that the Xin is going to full clear, right? But he doesn't, so he looks for the opportunity play. You know, the Senna doesn't have sums. Technically, you know, maybe he can get onto him if he just starts flashing on him. Maybe. But like the Nautilus plays it pretty well. They get the CC down, and neither of them die. You know, he just has to use Nautilus Flash. But again, the wave is good for BLG, so that kind of sucks. So that was one auto, like, switch up they could have done that would have helped their lane quite a bit. So then the lane resets, right, in a way, because like they have to crash it. They're not going to do anything while it crashes. And then this is where the next phase starts happening. So in this one, this here is where Hans screws up. So this situation's happening here, right? They assume that Xin is going to repath to top side to do his clear, like just like their own jungler. And so the Senna walks up, throws her W. So right now the Ashe is separated, which this is why he looks for the hook, because if he lands the hook, they're just full hitting Shen, which is great, and the Ashe can't retaliate. He misses, and to be honest, he probably could have just walked up on the Shen would have left, and he would have gone the brush, and that would have been good enough. But it's fine going for the hook, because if you do land it, it's really good. Doesn't land the hook, and then he decides to go back in to attack the Ashe, and now the Ashe is released, has W up, and he gets snagged. And now, you know, for the Senna having like all this movement speed to play in and out and space these guys, and because all he has is a call, no pots, they're in an advantage, and yet now that's completely ruined, and she has to base because they know the Xin is coming bot, and they could get dove. So there goes that round. That round's completely eliminated. And again, this is the guy who has first blood, and he's down 10 CS, and partially that's from, you know, the first part where they didn't just instantly base with the wave coming into them. But in this next phase, you're gonna notice, so the Ashe, like the Senna wants to punish the Ashe, right? You want to get chip damage, gets a Q off, cool, 1-for-1 like the autos, fine. But then you're gonna start seeing that Senna starts pumping into the the Shen, like okay, auto Q the Shen. There goes some mana. Progressive, W's the Shen, Q's the Shen. Now we're down to 20% mana, and the Ashe is healthier than she should be in this situation. But of course, also more importantly, is that the Ashe has been getting solo XP, and so he actually hits a level 6, and now that again eliminates any ability for them to contest this situation. So now they're once again playing on the back foot, not doing anything, while being the team that got like the player who got first blood, and that's how the rest of the lane goes. Nothing will change from here on out. So effectively, and he's based out on the cannon, but again he's going to drop a bunch more CS. So effectively, Hans and Labrov from the start getting first blood, punishing on, went from there to one mistake, to another mistake, to another mistake, that has now led them to being down. That is astounding. Look at this. Even. Dead even, despite getting a 400 gold surplus. That is crazy. This is the second game with Sivir Alistar versus Varus Neeko. This should be a very hard lane for the Sivir Alistar. I mean, they have to play it quite well. Of course, the main advantage that Sivir can have is that she can start shoving and gain some edge during that shove. And if they do try to force it, then G2's bot lane should be able to poke them enough, get them low enough, that it becomes kind of a overforce and kind of screws them over. So how do they actually play it? So they know that if they walk with the wave, they're going to eat a bunch of poke. And then they're going to get zoned here, and it's going to be really obnoxious. So they wrap around. So already BLG has the right play. They realize it. Okay, walk up. He instantly headbutts. So he knows that, again, that if they just stay here, they're just going to eat poke, and it's going to be bad. So he just goes in right away. Watch what Neeko does. So Neeko focuses autos on him, and that's fine because he doesn't necessarily want to be in it. But I'm surprised he doesn't throw a Q on Sivir, because the whole point is to get Sivir low, not Alistar, Sivir. So he throws a Q on Alistar, and my only reason I can imagine him doing this is if he's thinking, like, if I hit the Q on him, it's going to do twice on the minions, and we kind of want to nullify the wave a little bit, right? Because Sivir is going to press W on the wave. Personally, again, your goal is to get Sivir low, to force her to base. That is your goal. He doesn't do it. So Alistar does not have W for 10 seconds. He needs to reset in the bush. Takes too long to reset in the bush. Now he should be pressing into the Sivir and trading autos with his HP. He should be trading against her. Because the Alistar has literally nothing. He can't do anything. She has to ward this, but, I mean, they don't know it, but there's no wards, right? Doesn't. There's the first one. Okay, I should say doesn't, but like there's the first one. He can still play here, by the way. 5 seconds left. His Q's in 4. Come back out, auto him again. If they start running at him, so be it. Like, you're gonna be fine. There's no way they're killing you in any sense. Doesn't do it, so he gets no additional damage. Now we're focusing on Alistar. Now the second Neeko Q's on Alistar. Now they're healing away. Another headbutt. That one, not really the best, but you notice, like, look at the HP trades. This is Sivir. I don't know why he potted, by the way. He didn't need a pot, but he waits at his pot. He has no pots. He has 2 pots, but the Alistar's doing this purely just so Sivir's conditions are like good. Now the third Q of Neeko finally goes onto the Sivir. Another headbutt. They successfully get level 2, and look at the Varus' HP now. Look what happens on this wave. So the Ricochet starts hitting him a bunch of times, and he ends up losing probably at least 100 HP, and now Sivir's up half health. No, like, that's pretty bad. And look at the Neeko's HP too, from how this goes. Like, the Neeko's oh so low, because she decides to just walk into the bush for some odd reason and lose all this HP. So Labrov is trolled. Hans is kind of semi-trolled just from, like, you know, eating so much Ricochet damage, but also partially that's from Labrov being next to the wave and eating it. And then he goes up to try to fish here, which, I mean, like, even if you hit him, it's not gonna do anything. And so now he eats more damage. He has the base, and this leads to the dive on Varus, who's just like, oh, shit. And he dies. And even though it doesn't go over the Sivir, I mean, like, him dying is still particularly bad. Now, of course, you know, Viper ends up getting baited into doing this, which, yeah, kind of sucks, but now it's going to bounce back. This is where, like, they need to get a lot of value, right? Alistar ends up kind of inting himself in the river. Okay. But honestly, in the end of the day, this is kind of annoying for Varus because Nico and Varus want to, like, you know, as they would say, hump, you know, their opponents under the turret, harass them under the turret. You know, we're getting a pick, which is still good, but because Varus left, like, Sivir is able to, like, comb this out, and now there's nothing to do with it. So, once again, they're not using Varus, Nico for anything, which kind of sucks. And, you know, they kind of just do back and forth trading. There's not, like, a whole lot to really go over in this phase. Like, they're gonna base, right? For conditions. He's gonna shove this in. All right, cool. So we go to this next phase, and now here, once again, we're looking to build the wave and harass them on their turret. That is the goal. And so Sivir can't touch it. You know, they're kind of invading, messing with them a little bit. The Nico's here, and now finally we're doing what Varus and Nico want to do in the game. Starting at 8 minutes, we're finally doing it. You know, the Mundo has some pressure, cool. You know, the Pantheon's on the opposite side of the map, so they just have to survive. This here feels pretty bad when your Varus leaves to clean out the pink, and, you know, I don't know if they know where Panth is per se. I mean, it's like, they realize there's no pink there. They know this guy pretty much placed it there based on inventory, you could tell. But honestly, I feel like he really should not leave. Like, I know he wants to. Really, I know he wants to, but, like, they need to keep pressuring on the turret. Like, this is, like, your main time to get advantage. Like, screw the pink. Keep pressuring. So he misses out on harassing them, and then Labrov walks up too fast, which On then looks to punish, so, I mean, Alistar Flash for Nico Flash is pretty well worth it. Again, just trying to survive. They're trying to get poked down. And we're back to this phase. Even bases. Goodbye. And this is the nail in the coffin, where they're playing in the river, they're taking the drag, and so the Pantheon sneaks into the brush. They don't realize it. You know, they're all just playing like normal. The map state's like, okay. Again, not really getting a lot of advantage in the ball lane. And then he gets this sneak play on him. And he has no flash. And he dies. And at that point, you know, if we're looking at the differences here, I mean, the Sivir's only down from the plate gold, but it should be worse than this. And so she's big chillin'. And G2's comp is pretty reliant on the ball lane doing well. And here we are, once again, finding ourselves in this predicament because G2's bot lane just didn't play this well enough. I mean, from the first, like I said, from the first set, the Nico was using her abilities wrong. They ate way too much damage. And the second phase, that's fine. They got a kill on Alistar for Aurora. So be it. You know, you missed out your opportunity to punish, but at least you got a kill, right? The third phase, playing for the pink, I get why you kind of want to go for it, but, like, really, they just need to, like, do their best to get as much advantage. Then finally we get into this last one, this fourth phase. But because Labrov lost his flash, he's more, like, susceptible to a play. And they're just not thinking that, like, this guy might do a cheese play. You know, oh, he has Pantheon R. This could be pretty bad. And he's dead. And that is pretty much the game 2 laning phase. Final game, guys. We have Yunara Lulu versus Caitlyn Emilio. This one is pretty much you're playing on range as Caitlyn. Obviously, every time Yunara has her Q stacked, you have to dip. You need a way to disengage. If you can't, you're probably dead. So it's a very delicate lane. And they play it fine in the beginning. I mean, you're going to notice you get some poke with Q. Milio shield trade. Milio shield trade again with a headshot, and he trades it with his barrier, which is correct. He does a little poke with his E. Oh, okay, they have no E. I have E soon. So at this point, he wants to go in, but he can't necessarily because he's afraid of like the stacked up Yunara. Technically, he should still go for it. It'll be one hit, and then he'll dip. I mean, that's really the main thing. Is like it's one hit, and you'll dip. They don't go for it, so it's a missed opportunity to get a little chip damage down. And yeah, that's like the only little thing there. Then they start trading, you know, this is pretty good because it's like each of them trading on top of the Yunara. So that feels pretty good. And keep in mind, they have barrier on Caitlyn still, so like technically they are in an advantageous situation. She already used her pot too. All this is fine so far. You know, we pop W, we're trying to look for like poke, they run into the bush. There's nothing, this is fine. This is where the int happens. So, up to this point, like I said, he used his W right away. Technically, he probably would be better if he just used his shield to try to make for like one little thing and then just wait and then use W on the next wave. Especially when you're waiting for your trundle to like do the gank on bot, right? Like the cheese. But when they walk in like this, one, again, this is their vision. Like they don't see anything. So there's no point on walking in here like anymore. And so he gets hit by the slow. And I don't know if he's trying to hit the Lulu or the Yunara. Obviously he hits the Lulu or her, like it's gonna be a good amount of damage, right? And it's gonna slow, right? The slow is like, I don't remember what it is. 50%. Okay. So that's pretty good. He misses. He misses. This guy dodges it. And the second that happens, and he gets hit by this Q, that's it. Like, the lane is, like, pretty screwed up at that point. But oh, they have Trundle behind. So maybe it's still fine, right? Well, this guy walks up. What I don't really understand is, why does he not save his E for the Yunara? I mean, like, I know he doesn't have flash, but, like, he uses his E instantly on her, when he should just keep walking at this guy, use his E, and then pray that's enough and get this guy's flash. And he doesn't even try to approach the Yunara to get his flash. And then he gets, like, Hans gets slowed when he's trying to retreat, so he dies. And then this guy dies from the crash, and the lane is over. I mean, the lane is effectively over, but it gets worse as we progress. Just let it play. We're building the wave. Most cases, like, the Yunara will not be killing them on this, like, stacked wave. Like, it's too hard. Like, it's just not really a thing. They dip because they spot the Wukong behind. So they can't actually punish with the wave, which actually feels really bad. Like, really bad. And then they also burn a bunch of mana, which I would not recommend doing. Even though they got the Wukong low, I would not recommend burning a bunch of mana. So that kind of hurts them a little bit. Then when you approach into this wave, in which the Yunara has stacks, notice, one, he should trap this for sure. You know, like, definitely he should have trapped this area just so, like, there's no way for, like, Yunara to just walk up on them. But she starts walking, miss, and miss. They missed both their disengaged options, and now they're back to just dying. And now the game's over for them. They effectively lost the game in 4 minutes. And it came from essentially just contesting this bush, which was, like, the way they contested was just completely unneeded. I mean, they could have just chilled. They're just holding the line here, like, right at this moment here. The Milio can just sit here. The Caitlyn can just sit here, wait for them to have to walk up the last hit, then go for it, and you're probably fine. Obviously, your W is on a long CD, so, you know, you're kind of just waiting. But they tried to contest it before their Trundle can even make the play, which is, like, the worst part. Like, you're literally doing a cheese. You're doing a level 3 cheese bot. You cannot die. You cannot screw it up before this guy shows up. And they did. So, yeah, the G2 bot lane, for sure, can blame themselves for how it went. Don't get me wrong, there's a few things, like I said, in the Varus Nico, for instance, the Varus Nico lane, that they, you know, missed an opportunity to punish more on the second phase. But outside of that, yeah, like both Hans and Labrov made too many mistakes compared to Viper and On.